Welcome to Witch Weekly, your weekly installment of all things Harry Potter and Potter related. I'm one of your hosts, Marissa.
And I'm your other host, Mel.
And we're here this week to talk about the core subjects at Hogwarts. And in case you were wondering what those are, they are herbology, transfiguration, charms, potions, history of magic, astronomy, and defense against the dark arts. Did I miss any, Mel?
I don't think so. But education make us smart.
Yes, it makes us use good words in our sentences and such. So, Mel, I have a question for you to start us off.
Oh, yes.
Which subject would you have been most excited to study going into Hogwarts?
Oh, going
out of
in.
Those core ones.
Just from the names.
Not like, yes.
Transfiguration, just from the name.
And why do you think that would be?
Because I know what transfiguration means. It means transfiguring things into other things. Well, charms, it's like, well, what am I charming? And what kind of charming will I be doing?
Well, see, I picked charms.
There you go.
It just, from the names alone, it just seems more, I don't know, whimsical and versatile than anything else. I mean, I know with transfiguration, it's actually very versatile because you're changing things into other things, but charms just always struck me as the one that I would like to study the most.
That's fair.
Oh, I thought so. We have these... Sorry?
No.
Anything else?
No. I was just going to say, me picking the practical subject. Ha ha ha.
Well, you are a Gryffindor, so it stands to reason that you would pick the, subject taught by your head of house.
Didn't even think of that.
Well, now you have that in your brain, so it's going to be rattling around for a little bit. So, we have these core subjects, and that's what is studied and first and second year, and you will keep them third and fourth and fifth. But I think that if you don't pass the OWL, you don't take these anymore.
That's correct.
How it goes.
Yeah, because Neville couldn't stay in Transfiguration.
Correct. So you do get at least get to study these for 5 years. So we don't hear a lot about astronomy. We know that they meet at midnight on Wednesdays to look at the stars. And that's about it. That's all we really get from them.
Yeah, can I just say, midnight on Wednesday, and you still have to go to class in the morning? And they do this from when they're 11.
Yeah, maybe they go and they have a nap time before going up to the... I mean, I wouldn't stay up if I was 11 from, whenever I get up in the morning to midnight, I'd take a nap. But I like naps, so that could just be me. So we do get a lot about the others, not so much history of magic, we just know that there's a ghost teacher and he's boring. He just reads from his notes.
Which is still kind of cool to have a ghost teacher.
Yeah, but the most exciting thing that happens is he walks through the chalkboard to start teaching, and he walks out through the chalkboard.
Yeah. It would be cool if he could, talk about things he was alive for.
Well, he could have been alive for these things. We don't know how actually old he was.
Exactly.
So, but we don't get a lot about either of those two, but the other ones we get, not a ton, but we get a lot about. So, we always hear about the first class they have of the day is herbology. Pretty sure, most of the time.
It's a good way to start the day.
Yeah, with pulling up plants and being around, manure, I guess. It's a good way to expand your lungs, I guess. I don't know if I would be a fan of herbology. Because I don't know if it's weird because I don't have a green thumb like the rest of my family does. Plants die around me most of the time.
I am with you. I have no ability to keep a plant alive. There is currently the lady who's next to me at work. She was given a bonsai, and she went away over Christmas and it died. Even though the guy that waters all the plants in the office assured us it would be fine. It died. We have since spent the last month and a half watering a little bonsai stick, hoping it'll come back to life. We're both being optimistic here. We're going, it'll come good.
Nope, I don't think so. But I have this list of the Muggle equivalents for all of the subjects at Hogwarts.
Mm-hmm.
And herbology is likened to biology, which I was also terrible at.
Biology is about more than just plants, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's about also humans, but they do talk about plants, and I'm not a plant person. I was never a biology person. I'm not really a science person in general.
Yeah.
So we know that is taught by, is it Pomona or Pomona? I cannot remember for the life of me.
Pomona, I think it is.
Okay. Yeah, so it's taught by Professor Sprout.
That's a bit on the nose, don't you think?
I thought so going into this. I was like, oh, that's convenient that her last name is Sprout. Yeah, it's Pomona. I just looked it up.
Yeah.
So yeah, she is the head of Hufflepuff House, which also makes sense because they seem to be very connected to the Earth. So I think that makes a lot of sense for them, especially with we learned about through Pottermore. We learned a little bit about their common room.
Mm.
But it seems to be more homey and cozy and comfy than the other ones tend to be.
Am I allowed to start bringing up my problems with the subject yet?
You go right ahead. What are your issues?
Why are we dealing with killer plants? They're kids.
Well, my question kind of stems from that. Those things that, God, I can't even remember what it's called.
Mandrakes?
The things they pull out that they chop up to make the restorative draft.
Mandrakes?
Mandrakes. Are those magical creatures, though? Or are they just plants?
And, yeah, because they also crawl out of their pots into each other's pots in adolescence.
I'm saying. So are they half and half? Why aren't they taught to take care of these in Care of Magical Creatures? That's one question.
Because there's no crossover.
Apparently not. Apparently you only study... There's only certain things in the certain subjects.
And if the mandrakes do qualify as a magical creature, I'm all for using other living creatures to meet needs, but the students should still be spoken about, like what they're doing and saying, yes, we are killing this thing and this is why. We only kill the ones we need. This is how many we need, kind of thing. Like, explaining that to them.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a very medieval feel. Is that taking care of killer plants the only issue you have with herbology?
Pretty much. Killer plants.
Killer plants, got it. That's
kids
the issue
and killer plants.
Okay.
And killing the questionable plant creatures.
Yeah, like, do they I would assume they have consciousness because they're, developing and becoming like adolescents and adults.
And crawling into each other's pots.
Yes.
I just love that so much.
They're shacking up.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's a very fine line between creature and plant in that specific instance. So, next we're going to get into Transfiguration.
Okay.
Which we all know is taught by the best teacher to ever be at Hogwarts ever.
McGonagall.
She's the best.
McGonagall, great.
I have called her on more than one occasion Minerva McBadass.
That is...
Because she just is.
That is the best name.
Best name ever. So, according to the Muggle equivalents for Harry Potter subjects, lists transfiguration as physics.
If you insist.
And I don't know if I agree with that.
Yeah. Because don't the laws of physics say you can't change something into something it's not?
Yeah, like the proper, like, I don't understand physics all that much.
No, neither do I. So, no. I understand like centrifugal force, and that's about it.
Yeah, so if there's anybody in our audience that understands physics more, you can correct us or defend that classification. But there was another one I had where it said the Muggle equivalent for transfiguration is engineering, and I like that better.
Yeah.
Because you're taking things and turning it into other things, bigger things.
Yes.
So it's not a one-for-one equivalent, but a lot of these there's really not an equivalent.
Yeah. So I really like transfiguration from what we hear about it. I don't know where you can practically apply some of these things, like when do you need to turn a mouse into a matchbox or a matchbox into a mouse?
Yeah, when do you need to turn, I don't even know what animal they're using, but turning them into opera glasses? Like, how often is that applicable in your everyday life?
Yeah, I don't know, maybe you're stuck out in the wild, so you turn an animal into a glass so you can get water from a stream? Maybe? That's like, cup your hands?
Couldn't you just conjure one out of thin air? Is that transfiguration? I want to know what conjuring things out of thin air is.
Especially when it's
a charm? Is it transfiguration? I don't know.
And the other thing, especially when it's food and water, because you cannot make food or water. It's one of their laws. But you see them summoning it. So I assume it's summoned from the kitchen in some way when they do it in Hogwarts. That's the only explanation I can come up with.
Yeah, but when Dumbledore and Harry are in that cave retrieving the Horcrux, he conjures a goblet out of thin air. Dumbledore does.
Yes.
So where is he getting that from? Is that something that will fade over time and it's basically like an illusion, but it works?
Or was it transported from somewhere else to him? Was that a goblet just sitting in his office?
Possibly, but then how did it get from there to him?
Magic! Well, it vanished in one... It, teleported. It apparated.
Yeah, but they couldn't apparate directly into the cave, so why would a goblet be able to get directly into the cave?
It doesn't have life.
Do you think that's the thing, that they don't want something that doesn't have life to be in the cave, so they don't think about it? Or
yeah, they don't. It's
Voldemort, he doesn't care.
He doesn't think. He just thinks, got to stop living things getting in here.
Gotcha. All right. Well, I don't know. I like engineering as being the equivalent for transfiguration rather than physics.
And I don't think conjuring is transfiguration.
Okay.
Because transfiguration is turning one thing into another. So you need an object to change.
Yeah, like you could change a rock into a goblet.
Mm-hmm.
Theoretically.
Yeah.
So do you have any problems with transfiguration? Since you had problems with herbology?
Ethics. Where do they get off turning a table into a pig? Does that pig now have life? And like, if it's a sentient being, is it morally wrong to turn it back into a table?
I mean, you raise a good question.
Did you just kill the pig?
Does it depend on how long it was a pig for?
No! The second it becomes a pig, it's a pig.
Okay. But, like, yeah, it seems like doing it that way is giving something life, and that settles wrong with me.
Yeah, give it life and then take the life away. Or in the other realm, turning animals into something, so they turn mice into needles or something, whatever. No, it wasn't that, but mice into matchboxes.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Something like that. So you've just taken this animal's life.
Yeah, Like, can it still feel when it's a matchbox?
So many questions. So much moral dilemma.
Yes, I feel like I never even thought about the ethical side of it. So, thanks for ruining that for me, Mel.
The witches and wizards don't have the ethical side either.
Well, yeah. So, next up we have my favorite, charms. Do you want to bring up first what you have a problem with?
The destruction of free will, like a cheering charm. Maybe I want to be upset.
Okay. Let me be mad if I want to. Don't control my emotions. Yeah, the Muggle equivalent for charms is music. Which I think is... I mean, I love music, don't get me wrong, but I don't see how that...
translates.
I get, like, you can change a mood with music as you can change a mood with charms, but there's more to charms than just changing someone's mood.
Yeah, they like do levitation and things like that.
Yeah, and turning water into wine and banishing things and
that should be in transfiguration.
Things. You think?
Water into wine, that's transfiguration. Or religion.
I mean, it could be either. Let's be real. Yeah, I don't know if... Well, I guess changing one thing into another, but I don't know where that... Like I said, we don't know where that line is between... It feels like transfiguration is just like a harder set of charms. You know what I mean?
That's what you think.
Well, yeah, that is what I think, because it seems like it could be the same basic principles, but it's just being applied in a different way.
Well, wouldn't magic all be the same basic principles?
Not potions. Not
magic.
Herbology.
Spells.
Yes, but the only two real spells class we have is charms and transfiguration.
Yeah, and defense against the dark arts at times.
When we actually learn spells, yes.
So, charms is run by your head of house.
Yes. Professor Flitwick.
Phineas,
who is part goblin, I believe? I think he has goblin ancestry.
Yeah, he's short, is what we're saying.
I feel his pain.
Yes. I love the 5th movie where Umbridge gets the measuring tape out. It's so mean.
Yeah. He does go through quite a bit of change in the movies, because he starts out with, white hair and then changes to having a, brown mustache and short brown
bowl
hair.
cut. I prefer him in the earlier movies. I prefer that appearance. It's the same actor.
Yes. The thing was, they had him also play the choir director in the 3rd movie, but the person, the director was like, I like that better, so we're just going to keep that as Flitwick's look. Oh, okay.
Which I don't like.
It's kind of odd to just bring in a random person to be the choir director, so I guess I can understand that.
I get that, but I just like Flitwick when he's long grey hair and a big beard.
Yes. And something I did not know before I bought the 20th anniversary edition of the Philosopher's Stone is that he and Sprout dated.
That's also incestuous. So Sprout, McGonagall, or was it Sprout? One of them was a few years above the other at Hogwarts, and they were friends. Mm-hmm. So there you go, and then Phineas and Sprout dated. Suppose there's not much to do as a Hogwarts teacher.
I guess not. Yeah, they dated for, I don't know if it says how long they dated for, but they remained on good terms even after they broke up.
That's good, otherwise that'll make a very awkward workplace.
Be like, oh, this is good times. This is a good thing to have out there.
Yep.
I'm gonna see if I can find if it says what their relationship was like. So just give me one. Yes, Professor Flitwick had a long-term relationship with fellow teacher Professor Sprout. Sadly, it didn't work out, but they remained friends.
Woo! Friendship
So it doesn't
is
say
magic.
how... They have real magic, so I guess friendships can be magical as well.
But yeah, so they dated within the workplace.
Yes, they did. So I think all of your, problems with the subject so far is the ethical side of it.
Sounds like.
Like, is it ethical to kill a plant that kind of has sentience? Is it okay to turn a animal into something or turn something into an animal and give it life? Is it okay to change someone's mood or change something they're doing?
Yeah.
So, how about, do you have a problem with history of magic?
It's boring, apparently.
Well, it's.
I actually think it could be a really interesting subject, I think, if they had a teacher who was more interesting.
Yes, I agree. It just seems like he's just telling them, because he does argue that they're going to get back to facts when he tells them about the Chamber of Secrets, but then he's like, we're going to get back to cold, hard, verifiable facts.
Yes.
And that's all we're going to talk about. And that is obviously history. That is the same thing.
And
we get history of everything else, they get history of magic specifically.
Yeah. And he just reads it out in the same slow, droning monologue, which
so
I love.
Fall asleep.
I love history, but that would drive me mad.
Agreed. I didn't really have boring history teachers. I always liked my history teachers. I never had one that I was like, you're not interesting to listen to.
Yeah. It's sad that he's managing to ruin what would be such an interesting subject. Even Harry said at some point that it'll be really interesting if there was any teacher but Bins.
Yeah, he said, I think they were talking about the giant wars, that anybody else would make it interesting, but he's having trouble even staying awake. So, we're not going to knock astronomy out of the way. Got any problems with looking at the stars, aside from them having to stay up super late for it?
No, actually, I think it'll be a really interesting subject.
We got one. The Muggle equivalent is astronomy, as you might have picked up on.
Funny that.
Yeah. I always liked studying space. I always liked looking at the stars, and I have a bunch of stargazing books and just different stuff about space. I read a book about a guy that was stuck on Mars. It's called The Martian. If you haven't read it, you probably should.
I've seen the movie.
Oh, well, the movie is very different. I've also seen the movie, but you should know. Books are always better. We do know that, well, in the books we only know that the astrology teachers, astrology, it's all mixed in my head.
Yeah.
The teacher we only get Professor Sinistra. It is and her first name is Aurora, because of...
Oh, you're breaking up. Okay, start. You were breaking up really badly, but just start talking about that again.
About the astronomy teacher?
Yes.
Okay. The astronomy teacher, we only learn her last name in the books. We learn that it's Professor Sinistra, but her name is Aurora.
There you go. I like the name Aurora.
That's the only thing that would make sense. It is very pretty. It's also the name of the Princess Sleep. You didn't know that.
You're breaking up again, but I'm guessing you mentioned it was Sleeping Beauty's name.
Yes. I'm so sorry that I'm breaking up. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what's happening either. I've got full reception.
And so do I, so I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But there's not much to really say about astronomy because we don't hear about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, it's not really spoken about much. I think the most time we spend in that class is the owls in Order of the Phoenix.
Like that is we ever get one line in the first book about how they have classes at midnight on Wednesdays, and then the rest of it we never hear about.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and we don't know a lot about the professor, so we can't really talk to her. But I'm going to let you pick. Do you want to potions first or arts?
Sorry about that, had some technical difficulties. So we'd just finished talking about astronomy and that we don't really know much about it, and we're about to move on to our next subject.
And I'm going to let you pick. Do you want to talk about potions next or defense against the dark arts?
Let's do potions and cross off our last head of house.
Okay, sounds good. So we all know that potions is taught by Professor Snape.
And then later by Slughorn.
Yes. So, but mostly we get Snape through the books. And whether you love him or you hate him, he is a good teacher, I believe. But potions is basically like chemistry. That's what most of the things that I've read have boasted it to be like as the Muggle equivalent.
Cooking.
You think? You think more cooking than...
Well, technically, most of the potions you can consume. Not that you want to consume all of them.
So it's home ec, basically?
Yeah, totally.
It's home ec more than chemistry. All right. I can get down with that. I don't know if I would like, and I bet you have problems with people force-feeding potions to people.
Yes, I do. And poisoning people's toads.
Mostly I have a problem with the way Snape uses his potions against people rather than the potions themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he says he's going to slip Harry a truth potion, because that's ethical.
Totally. So see, Snape is not the subject that's unethical, it's Snape that's unethical.
Yeah, because Slughorn's like, well, I took this lucky potion a couple times. He doesn't really do much bad with it, you know? Yeah, I like to cook. I don't like chemistry, so I would be more willing to lean towards the home ec portion of potions than I would be to...
Yeah, but it sounds like such a complicated subject where it's if you stir it too many times in the wrong direction, it's ruined.
So I guess it would be more like baking than cooking, because you have to have very specific amounts of ingredients, and that's the same way it is with baking. If you don't, it's going to turn out crappy, but with cooking, you can just kind of improvise.
Definitely, and you can't do that in potions. It's so specific.
Yes, because we've seen how, Harry skipped one part of a potion, and it completely screwed it up, made it terrible.
Yeah.
I don't think I would be much into potions, especially with
I wouldn't be good at it.
Creepy, abusive, terrible professor. It would have been probably better under Slughorn.
Yeah, he was a lot more encouraging.
But also, when following the book, Hermione does terribly. And then when following Snape's instructions, Harry did really well.
Yeah, it's funny
there's
that.
Something to be... It's very interesting to see that change.
Yeah, it's obviously how Snape presents it, not so much what he's saying, because he's brilliant at potions.
Yeah, and we don't really see them using potion books in his classes. He just puts it up on the board and then they make it. So it could be that they were being given the, Half-Blood Prince's instructions, and that's why Hermione's potions always turned out great.
Exactly. I agree, because he knew the best way to do it, and that's what he was giving the students, the best way, not just the way from the books, which we are clearly shown in Book 6 is not the best way.
No, never.
But Yeah, I don't think I'd be much good at potions. Nothing against it, just against Snape.
Yeah, mostly. I have lots of problems with Snape as a person.
I have feelings.
we all have feelings. It'll all work out in the end. So, we're gonna jump into our final subject, which is Defense Against the Dark Arts, which we have tons of different, teachers to talk about.
Teachers, and I think the experience of Defense Against the Dark Arts varies greatly on who the teacher was. But the overview, Defense Against the Dark Arts, is, as it says on the tin, learning to defend yourself against dark things, including dark creatures, which, once again, crossover between subjects. This time there is crossover, sorry. Actually, there is in potions and herbology as well. You should see what my hands are doing. It's funny.
Are you trying to explain yourself with your hands? Is that what you're doing?
No, every time I say crossover, I just flick my fingers out and make a cross.
Okay. I can see that. It's fine. Yeah, I guess because we do use magical ingredients from magical plants to make potions, so I understand that. But in Defense Against the Dark Arts, there's technically crossover with care of magical creatures, but you're not learning to care for them. You're learning to get away from them. You're learning to break their wrists and get away from them, and
all the lovely stuff.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna go ahead and list out the teachers that we have for this subject. Year 1, we have Professor Quirrell, who turns out to have Voldemort on the back of his head. Spoiler alert, in case you hadn't, seen that yet or read that.
What are you doing on this podcast?
Yeah, what are you doing listening to this if you haven't read the books or watched the movies? You need to do that first.
Yeah.
You have homework to do.
Yeah.
Year 2, we have the best looking professor that the school has ever seen, Professor Lockhart.
Woo!
He is gorgeous and lovely and just
useless.
Stupid. Yes, he's very useless. He was technically in House Ravenclaw. Technically. But we don't claim him. And when I say we, I mean I don't.
He's Ravenclaw. Suck it up, so is Quirrell.
Ugh, yeah, well, we can't all be gems like Luna and me, so, and Flitwick, so we gotta have some downfalls.
He was preceded by R.J. Lupine.
Lupine? Is that how you pronounce it?
Totally.
Okay.
Their best Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher they ever had.
Yes, he was the best.
And he was a Gryffindor.
Yes, he was. Yeah, we know. Gryffindors just think they're just all the best.
But we are the best.
Sure you are. So, we do have Lupin, and he's great, and he teaches them how to defend themselves against all kinds of creatures. And we find out he's a werewolf.
Grr.
So there's that.
Arg.
And had he not been a werewolf, he probably would have stayed throughout the rest of the books, which would have been great, but unfortunately that didn't happen. And then we have year 4. We have who we think through most of the book is Alistair Mad-Eye Moody.
Barty Crouch Jr.
Who's an ex-Auror, and he's just, worried that everyone's trying to kill him. And then we find out that it's actually Barty Crouch Jr. taking Polyjuice Potion to be Mad-Eye Moody, and the actual Mad-Eye Moody was locked in a trunk.
Hogwarts needs better checking systems.
I don't know why they didn't, check these things out, but they thought he was on the up and up. They didn't expect the, dead son of Barty Crouch to appear and be taking Polyjuice Potion.
Suppose not.
Yeah. They didn't think that was a thing that was going to happen. So, after that, we get the worst person ever.
The absolute worst.
Do we have to even say her name?
Yes, we do.
Okay. Dolores Umbridge.
Oh, you said the name.
I know. I'm sorry. I had to do it.
I feel dirty.
I'm so sorry. So there's her, and she's horrible and awful and tries to teach them.
Unqualified.
Yes, extremely unqualified. She tries to teach them strictly theory-based defense against the dark arts, which doesn't turn out well.
If you study the theory carefully,
which makes no sense,
you'll be able to do it for your exams
without ever practicing it. No, it's not how it works.
I've tried. Osmosis doesn't work.
No, you can't just sleep on top of a book and hope that the information gets into your head. It's not how it works.
No.
So, after all that unpleasantness, we get to book 6. And Snape, Professor Severus Snape,
his moment has come.
He finally gets his lifelong ambition, and he gets the Defense Against the Dark Arts position. And we all scratch our heads as to why, after all this time, he would be appointed to that position.
Bribery.
Pretty much bribery. So, he's a competent teacher, but he's just mean, which isn't any different than how he was in the potions class, but he's still just...
No, they've just moved his classroom, but he keeps his officers in the dungeon.
Of course he does, because if he's going to have
aesthetic.
detentions there, yeah, it's all about the aesthetic. All of Hogwarts is into the aesthetic. So, I looked up what the Muggle equivalent would be, and Spark Notes is telling me that it would be government.
I'm not going to reply to that because I'm so stupid.
I don't understand that. Because we study government and economics, but I don't see how that translates into Defense Against the Dark Arts.
Not at all.
Yeah, like...
There is no equivalent.
Yeah, like defense classes, but you're not taking those in school.
Oh, we did one term. We got taken to a dojo. Yeah, we got taken to a dojo and did self-defense.
Huh. Well, we never did that. Because
my school was better than yours.
Well, we just have guns to defend ourselves over here. We've talked about that before. Anywho, yeah, so it says government. I don't really understand that. I would like to think that I would be good at Defense Against the Dark Arts, but we don't really know. I would like to think that, because the only thing that we really see them learn is Expelliarmus. That's about it, and that's not even in class.
Yeah, we don't see a lot. Oh, we see them fight the Boggart.
Oh, yeah, and I guess we do see them try to... we see Harry try to throw off the Imperius Curse, or does throw off the Imperius Curse. I don't know. I would like to think that I could, manage, but I don't know if I would be able to effectively.
Yeah,
do you have any issues?
It depends who's teaching. Depends who's teaching.
Okay, so I assume you have a problem with Barty Crouch acting as Mad-Eye Moody, putting the kids under an Imperius Curse.
Yep, I also have problems with Goldilocks. He's unqualified and puts the kids in danger. He can't even look after the pixies.
Come on, they're only Corner's pixies.
I had trouble with Snape and his abuse of power. And I just don't like Quirrell. And I don't like Umbridge. Umbridge, I have a problem with that she's not teaching the students anything. She is wasting their time.
Which is the problem that Hermione has with it.
Yes.
She goes, there's no point in just reading.
Yep, and she's read it all already.
Yeah, and she has questions, and she doesn't agree with things, but she's not allowed to voice her opinion.
No, and that is an...
Censorship.
Censorship, and it prevents further education and development. Exactly. Kids should be allowed to debate and talk about things in class.
Yeah, that's what we're always encouraged to do.
Especially if it's relevant to the topic.
Exactly. So, we've covered the core topics. Hooray! We did it!
Yay!
So, the only fan topic I really had, well, I discussed how people were, doing Muggle equivalents of Hogwarts subjects. So that was developed by fans. But another thing that was developed by fans was taking astrology signs and telling what their favorite subject at Hogwarts would be.
Yeah, I've read it.
And I don't necessarily agree with it.
Yeah, I was going to say I don't really agree with it. But nevertheless, I will put it up on Facebook and our website so people can look.
Yes. I mean, it says that mine, which I'm a Pisces, in case anyone was wondering, it says mine is apparition, except that it's not a class. It's not a subject.
I think, what was mine again? I'm Aquarius. I don't have it up in front of me.
Care of magical creatures.
At least it's a class, I suppose.
Yeah, but it's not even a core class, so it's not even one we've really talked about. We talked about it in passing, but that's about it.
Yeah, exactly.
There is one that I have many questions about. Virgo is labeled as their favorite subject being magical theory, but that's not a class that we hear about.
No, it's not.
Unless it's something that's on Pottermore and I just haven't come across it. I might have to look at some point.
Yeah, it could be.
But, yeah, so we'll put that up so you all can see what your favorite subject would be based on your astrological sign, in case that interests you.
I was gonna say
it should. It's kind of cool.
It's kind of fun, but kind of silly. I don't adhere to those things, but there's no judgment on anyone who does. But have fun with it. Let us know.
Yeah, they do this kind of stuff all the time with different. They just do random, personality traits based on your sign, and I've seen a whole bunch of those kinds of things.
I have a vague respect when it is done by people who specialise in it, but the random internet ones, I don't really have much care for.
Yeah, understood. So, do you want to do a random ship, Mel?
I was born to play random ships.
Are you sure you were born for it? You sound like you were born for it. I just wanted you to confirm.
I was born for this. So, random ships. This is where we build a boat, set it to sail in the Black Lake to see if it sails or sinks. What is the stipulation this week?
I think we're going to do Teachers at Hogwarts. I know we kind of had this before, but we're going to do it again.
No, that's okay. It can happen.
So, I'm going to go ahead and search my mind and see what in my heart is true.
I'm going to open archive of our own.
This will be fun. Okay. Okay. Go ahead and do it.
3, 2, 1. Minerva McGonagall.
Flitwick. Okay.
After Flitwick broke up with Pomona Sprout, he sought solace with McGonagall.
Are you gonna let it sail?
No, but no. You can also add on to my story. Tell a story while I look at archive.
Well, I think that after so many years of getting to know one another, I think that McGonagall kind of, after her husband dies, she develops a very close relationship with Flitwick, and she really likes him, and she doesn't know if she could really be in a relationship with him because of his history with Professor Sprout, so she does go talk to her and see if she would be okay with that. And Pomona, being the great person she is, gives her blessing to pursue something. And I think they're just, in the Great Hall during Christmas time, having a few drinky drinks, and one thing leads to another, and they end up snogging, which is my favorite form of making out, in a broom cupboard. And I'm going to let it sail. I know you don't want it to, but I like it.
There's no fan fiction to back you up.
Dang it. Well, I need to write something then. Or our fans need to. One of the two things needs to happen.
Right, I will turn around, and I wanted to sail away very quickly so I don't have to look at it.
It's a very fast-moving ship. It's fine.
So, yeah, do you have a what if?
Not really a what if, but a question. Do you think that the founders taught the same subjects as the heads of houses that we see? Like, did Godric Gryffindor teach Transfiguration?
No, I don't think it would work like that.
Okay.
Though, having said that, was Dumbledore head of Gryffindor before he became headmaster?
I believe so.
Because he taught Transfiguration.
But I don't know that for sure. He did.
So maybe it is a thing where if you're head of house, you have to no, because Snape remained head of house when he was Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher and only gave it up when he became headmaster.
This is true.
So no.
I just didn't know if you thought that just because we see them this way does not mean that it's always the herbology teacher that came before or comes after Sprout, except not after Sprout because Neville comes after Sprout. Yeah. But maybe the one before was head of Ravenclaw or something.
Yeah. Yeah, and as we see, Neville takes over herbology and he's a Gryffindor, so he can't be head of Hufflepuff.
Yes, even though that's his favorite class is taught by the herbology teacher. But yeah. I just didn't know if you thought that it reflected the ones that we see. So I didn't know if you thought that, Salazar taught potions and Ravenclaw taught charms.
Yeah, no.
I didn't know no, you don't think so?
Nah.
Okay. All right, that's fine.
Nah.
Understood.
Yeah, I just don't see it.
Okay.
But I don't, because I also see how the heads of houses they picked, I see how their subjects do relate to their houses, so I do see that, but I don't think it's strictly that.
Yeah, well, it shouldn't be. I don't think it should be. You can only be head of house if you teach this subject.
Yeah, that's silly.
Yeah. So, you have any other things to say?
No, not at the moment. I'll think of stuff later and be like, oh, darn it.
Well, you could always post on the, Facebook page, which, if you want to check us out, and like us, and follow us, it's you can find us on Facebook at Witch Weekly Podcast. We have a Twitter at Witch Weekly Cast. You can email us at witchweeklypodcast@gmail.com. But we also have a podcast network now. It is the podcast network website is mmpodcastnetwork.com. We're on Twitter at MMP Network. We're also on Facebook at MM Podcast Network or MMP Network. And as always, you can always find us personally on Twitter. I am at Rissaru312.
I am at MA Bickett, which is BICKET.
So come follow us, talk to us, tweet us. We could talk about all things Harry Potter related. If you're incidentally into Buffy the Vampire Slayer, we are doing a Buffy the Vampire Slayer watch-through podcast, so you can find that on our website as well.
Yep.
So is there anything else you have to say to the lovely people, Mel?
Nope.
All right. We will see you guys next week. Bye.
Bye.